how can you scale, beyond just you or you and a couple of VAs, but how can you kind of have infinite scale so you can truly build a successful digital marketing agency? Post for me in comments, yes or yup or something if you're interested in learning about how to scale and how to put systems and procedures in place so we can go beyond just you and a couple of people, but really grow to something of critical mass. I can't see the comments, but I'll try my best. So here's the challenge as it relates to trying to run digital marketing or SEO agency, is that oftentimes there's just too much to do. There's too many balls in the air. Just thinking about what's been covered over the last couple of days, and in that last session about ADA compliance, setting up websites, doing SEO, doing link building, setting up on-page optimization, doing schema, just the fulfillment for clients from an SEO perspective. There's 1,000 little balls in the air. Then when it comes to like going out and getting clients, doing cold outreach and speaking at events and sitting in network meetings and talking to prospects and taking them through consultative sales processes, there's a lot to do, right? And there's lots of little balls in the air. And the fact is, if you're trying to do it yourself and if you don't have a system or a procedure in place, what ultimately happens is you wind up getting overwhelmed, right? There's too much to do. There's too many emails and PMs and phone calls and team members asking for things or team members being told what to do. And it can be extremely overwhelming. And when you're overwhelmed and when you're shut down, a couple things happen. First of all, you stop doing one of two things. You either stop prospecting, right? You stop going out and landing clients and growing your business, or you stop effectively serving the clients that you have. You stop checking the boxes, the things that actually have to be done that you guys have been learning about over the last 2 days. And when that happens, clients cancel, right? Clients that should have been long-term, clients that you put your heart and soul into getting them to sign up for your services, they cancel, right? And it's part of the game. Like, you're going to have cancellations from clients in your agency, but sometimes the clients that shouldn't cancel, the clients that you could have done a good job for, wind up canceling. And when you drop the ball on enough clients and you don't deliver on the promises that you've made, not only does it cost you revenue, but it also costs you in terms of your reputation. Like, I don't know about you guys. I know a couple of you are niche focused. In other words, you're in one specific vertical. My business is plumbing and HVAC SEO. We only work with plumbing and HVAC companies. And I'm a big advocate for being niche focused, being in one particular vertical, becoming the expert in that space, and really just dominating one particular market. The good part about that is you can accelerate your growth when there's good word about you. But the negative word spreads extremely fast when you're a niche specific person as well. So, getting it right and not dropping the ball on your clients because you don't have systems and procedures is massive. That's a really, really big deal. But I think the biggest problem that happens when you don't have scale, you don't have systems and procedures, is you can't focus on the most important activity for you as the owner of an SEO agency or a digital marketing agency. And that's continuing to position yourself, continue to go out and grow and land new clients. What I see happen again and again and again with digital marketing agencies is they wind up in this cycle. Well, they'll go out, they'll get a couple of clients, they'll pour everything they can into serving the clients, and they'll stop focusing on business development. Or they'll say, okay, I got the client, I'm just going to kind of continue to do what I want to do over here on the sales side, and they'll drop the balls. And their confidence drops to nothing. And when your confidence in what you're selling isn't at 10 out of 10, your ability to land clients drops significantly. And so I really think this whole topic of putting systems and procedures in place to scale is mission critical. Because if you can't solve for this, if you can't solve for making sure that all those balls are being caught or they're being hit on a consistent basis, if we can't make sure that our reputation is great because we're delivering outstanding customer results, and if we can't have confidence to go out and land clients on a consistent basis, we won't be able to grow and we won't be able to scale our digital marketing agency. So I think this session, this whole topic of how to scale is mission critical. So I'll just tell you a little bit about my backstory and kind of, what my experience was. I started my first agency back in 2004, and it was a complete fail. It was a web design and hosting company called Develicom. We were building websites for like $800 one-time fee. We were hosting them for $50 a month. If I was lucky, sometimes I would negotiate down to $20 a month if I'm honest. And The model was just terrible. I didn't have any recurring revenue. I didn't really do anything of value for my clients other than throw up brochureware type websites. I wanted it to work. I really did. I put 40, 60 hours a week into this thing, and it just didn't work out. I literally, after about 2.5 years, didn't generate enough income to pay myself anything. And I had to shut it down. It was a very painful experience. And I went into regular corporate America. I worked for a couple companies like ADP and Layson and Data Impact, and I was just in business to business sales. And my heart, though, was in internet marketing. Like, I knew I wanted to run an agency. I knew I wanted to be successful, and I was always a student of the game. So I don't know about you guys, but I love audiobooks. So I was listening to Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I was listening to Secrets of the Millionaire Mind. I was listening to the E-Myth Revisited. And all of these books, they really just say, look, if you're going to be successful, if you're going to build wealth, you have to start your own business. You have to invest in assets, right? And that's the way to do it. So I was like, okay, I have to figure out how to be successful in my own business. One thing really stuck out at me from the book, The Secrets of the Millionaire Mind by T. Harv Eker, which I recommend all of you guys read. It's an amazing book. But one of the main tenets of the book was, yes, you have to start a business, but you don't have to necessarily start that business. Like, you could just get a job at a company that's successful, start to get a lay of the land, understand how successful businesses like that operate. And that's a great way to enter the corridor and see, maybe you can find a niche for yourself. Maybe you can figure out something that would make you more successful. And so with that, I said, okay, let's go find out who the successful internet marketing agencies are in the world. And this was back around like 2008 or 2009. And I researched and I came across Reach Local. The big pay-per-click company. They were about $250 million a year at the time. They were on the brink of going public. And I know I can't read the comments, but I know I'm getting boos because we all know they're not really great at the service they provide. But they were a very successful company. They still do hundreds of millions of dollars a year in revenue. So they were doing something right, at least from a sales and business development perspective. And so I went out, I got a job there, became an internet marketing consultant, which means I was a salesperson. And I sold these services day in, day out for, years and years and years. I would say months and months and months. And I learned what I needed to do, right? I learned, first of all, the right model isn't to sell one-off projects. It's to sell recurring revenue. I learned that local businesses, your average local roofer, AC contractor, dental company will pay $1,000 to $2,000 per month and more on a recurring basis, as long as what you're doing is generating results, right? It can generate phone calls, it can generate leads. And so I learned what I needed to learn. I was excited about that. But I was also frustrated because, like a lot of you guys have seen, it's not hard to knock off a Reach Local client. The results just aren't there, right? They charge $2,000 a month. They generate some phone calls, but there's not a great tangible, measurable return on investment. So after about my 1.5 point at Reach Local, I said, okay, it's time to move on. I think I've learned what I need to learn. I'm going to go and try this again. And it was a struggle because my first business was such a total fail. And my current wife, we've been married for going on 15 years now. But when we were in this experience, she experienced the pain of not getting paid, of working 40 hours a day, of being in debt, right? And she was like, seriously, you've got an income, you're doing really well. Why would you leave and start this other business? This is a big risk. And so at the time, it was a very risky proposition, but I felt confident with the right business model, the right sales and marketing strategies and techniques, I could really accelerate, I could really grow the business. And so we stepped out in faith and we started the business, and kind of fast forward, started that business 2011, grew to 7 figures within our first 2 years. And as it sits right now, our agency does about $370,000 per month in recurring revenue. We do over $4 million per year. We've got a team of 30 full-time employees at our office in Miami. And we made the Inc. 5000 list, the fastest growing companies the last 4 years in a row. So, my experience was, the wrong model followed up by the right model, the right strategy, systems, and procedures, and building team, right? Not trying to do it all myself, not trying to be the person building the websites, doing the SEO, doing the pay-per-click, selling the clients, retaining the client relationship, but really looking at it as a business. How do how do we build an organization chart? How do we develop positions? How do we train our team and make sure that all of the aspects of the company can be executed in a world-class way without me having to do it myself? And now if that sounds good to you guys, and that's kind of what you're in this session for, post in comments, that sounds great, because that's about what we're going to unpack for you here today. So here's a picture of my team. Again, it's about 30 full-time employees at our office in Miami. Do not mock me for the green shirt. I get laughed at all the time. That's just the color we chose, and that's the color of our business. We've got a real office. It's very millennial, so it's kind of fun. You'll see cutouts and things like that all over the office if you ever come down to South Florida and check us out. And this is a picture of me and my business partner making the Inc. 5000 list for the first time in San Antonio. It was a great experience. And so, that's just high level. That's my story. I don't want to spend a ton of time on it, but it's good to kind of have some context as to who you're learning from. Because what I'm going to share with you right now isn't based on theory. It's not based on I read the E-Myth Revisited. It's based on my real world experience growing and scaling my agency to 30 employees and scaling to multiple seven figures over the last 6 or 7 years. So really the opportunity is, let's plan to scale, right? Let's make sure that we're thinking about where we want our business to go and say, okay, if that's where we want to be, what's the plan? How do we make that a reality in our business? Well, how do we systematize it, right? How do we make sure that when we get a client, it's very clearly identified, like these are the 112 tasks we're going to do on launch. These are the 20 tasks we're going to do every single month. And these are the steps in each one of those different things that we do. Systematize it so that we don't have to do it, but it can still get done at a world-class level. And how do we build our team? The fact is, and I may be different in this regard. I don't want to necessarily just be myself in a basement cranking away, on my computer. I want to feel like I'm providing a world-class service. I'm getting my clients great results. And what I found is, to do that, you need a team, and you need a team of 8 players that are on board with your vision, that are clear with what their job is, and will step up to the plate and really knock it out of the park for your clients on a consistent basis, so you can provide great service and great results and a great customer experience. So not only do you knock it out of the park for your clients, but they remain with you long term. And I think that when you can do that, like when you can really knock it out of the park for your clients and not have to do it for yourself, you can create momentum and consistent growth in your agency. Really, what I found is when you're clear on the systems and the procedures, you've got your team in place, they're all clear on what they're trying to do, and you're knocking it out of the park for your clients and they're sticking with you for the long term, you can grow a very successful and scalable agency that really provides for your lifestyle needs. It gives you the money that you want in order to pay the bills and do the fun stuff, but it also provides you with financial and personal freedom, like where you can not have to go in and work 40, 60 hours a week, but you know that you've got people in place to do the work in the key areas of the business. So you're flexible to do what you want to do, to spend time with family, to take the travels, and to have the adventures. And so I'd love to hear from you guys real quick in comments. Why is learning to scale important for you? I'm going to actually close my slide here and see if I can see in chat. Interact with me here, guys. What about this is exciting for you? And if I can't figure out how to get to the chat, I'm just going to keep pressing forward. Moving from a job to a business. I love that. Let's see. Actually, if you could put it in Q&A, maybe I could see it easier there. Want a business that will help me and help my employees become a 7-figure agency, says Christina. Awesome. In the right place. Good deal. I'll keep pressing forward. So what I find is that agencies are somewhere in one of these 7 stages of growth. So the first stage is startup, right? And startup is exciting. It's like, okay, I'm going to start an agency. I'm going to go out and sell these services. And it's fun because you're trying to figure out, like, what am I going to sell and how am I going to package it? And what's my marketing strategy going to be? And how much am I going to charge? But the reality is it's also very stressful because in startup, there's no income, right? If there's no clients yet, there's no income, there's no money to pay yourself to think about hiring a team or doing any of that stuff. And so when you're in startup, your number one focus really needs to be, let's go out and land some clients. Let's get to critical mass where at least $10,000 or $15,000 a month in recurring revenue. Anybody in startup here today, just put startup if that's where you're at this point in your agency. The next stage is struggle. And so struggle is like when you've gotten past zero, but you're still less than $10,000 per month. So at struggle, now you've got some work to do, right? You've got clients that have expectations from you. They want you to do the websites and the SEO and the pay-per-click, but there's not really enough money to pay yourself. I mean, you can pay yourself a little bit, but usually you have overhead expenses. So there's not a lot of money to pay yourself, and there's definitely not enough money to really build the team out, right? To outsource certain things. So you're kind of a slave to the business in that struggle phase. What I find is in struggle, the main thing you have to focus on is business development, right? You have to be selling at a high enough monthly recurring fee to quickly iterate out so that you have enough financial capital to pay yourself and start to invest in team and invest in things like that. The next phase is scale, and this is between $15,000 and $50,000 per month. I really feel like this is kind of an exciting time in the business because now you've got enough money to kind of like buy some of the nice stuff. You can actually pay yourself a salary and not feel like you're starving for food. And you start to get enough money, and that's why it's called scale. You start to have enough money to say, okay, what do I not like to do here? Like, I don't really enjoy doing the directory stuff, right? I don't enjoy optimizing the ADA compliance of the websites. At scale, you get enough money to say, okay, who can I hire? Who should I hire next in order to help me do this in an efficient and effective way? The next stage is success. And this is where you're doing over $50,000 per month in recurring revenue. That money's coming in every single month. Statistics tell us less than 3% of businesses, agencies get to 50,000 or more in recurring business. So most agencies kind of flounder at that $10,000 to $25,000 per month range, which you can kind of scrape by okay, but you really don't have abundance and you really don't have the ability to build your team. And what's interesting is there's massive changes in the way that you think, the way you operate, and the way you have to approach your business at each one of these stages. And to me, the top level of this is significance, and that's $83,000 per month and beyond, right? Something beautiful happens when you get to 7 figures in monthly in recurring revenue in your agency, because ultimately at that point you have to have gotten good at delivering for your clients, right? The clients wouldn't be staying with you and paying you a monthly recurring fee if you hadn't gotten good at what you were doing. And you have to have also built a team, right? You have to have put some people in place. Otherwise, you're going to be working 70 hours a week. And even if you did that, you wouldn't really be able to keep up with it to serve your clients at the top level possible. And so for me, my life changed. I told you my first business was a catastrophic failure. I grew up in a missionary's family. So my parents, we lived in Haiti. I'm in a family of 4. There wasn't a lot of abundance in my life. Like literally my dad made $24,000 per year. And so getting to a place where I had enough money to do what I wanted to do, like to have the nice house and to drive the nice car and all of those types of things was great. But for me, getting to that level really meant I was able to serve my family at a level I couldn't have otherwise, right? Paying for the bills, putting my kids in the nice school, taking the travels no longer were a concern. But I'd say the biggest aspect of significance is you have the financial abundance the abundance of time, right? The ability to do what you really want to be able to do. And so for me, I'm married to my beautiful wife, Yesenia, who's up on the screen. I've got 2 kids, Brandon and Ryan. Brandon's 6, Ryan's 3 years old. You can probably hear them squawking in the background here somewhere because we're all quarantined at our houses. I'll try and keep them down. But for me, this is what it's about. It's not about Ferraris. It's not about Porsches. It's not about the luxury. It's about the time. It's the ability to spend time with them, to give them the best of the best. And so really that's what I want to give you guys, the tools, the resources in today's training to really think not small, to get out of struggle, to get out of scale, like that $10,000 to $25,000 per month range, and think bigger. Think 7 figures and beyond, because at 7 figures and beyond, you have abundance. And it's not just financial abundance. It's the abundance of time. It's the abundance of impact, right? At 7 figures, now my parents were missionaries. To me, it's almost as important to have that money for myself as it is to have the money to be able to pour back into ministry. And that's just my personal, preference of why having abundance is so important. It's such a powerful thing. But you cannot get to that level on your own. You cannot get to that level without thinking and playing at a higher game. And so, that's what it's about for me. And I've also had the chance to share this information with other agencies and be able to see them go from struggle to scale to success to significance. And I've been able to impact at least 15 seven-figure digital marketing agencies over the last 3 years, and hundreds in our digital marketing seven-figure agency training and program. And so let's dive into the 5 keys for scaling your digital marketing agency. I'm going to try and chop through this as quick and efficient as possible. So key number 1 is to ensure that your model is built to scale. Here's what I know. My first business failed because a lot of things were missing. But the biggest thing was I had the wrong model. I was selling the wrong product at the wrong price in the wrong way. And no matter how hard I tried, no matter how many hours I put in, no matter what I did, I wasn't ever going to get past $10,000 to $15,000 in any given month because my model wasn't built to scale. And so I want at high level, I just want to real quick share with you what I found to be the model for success and the model for scale. So right, if we want a business that can scale, we want it to give us 3 things. The first is money, right? We have to have enough money to pay the bills, to live our desired lifestyle, and to do what it is that we want to do. The second thing is freedom, right? We all got into business as agencies, as SEOs, so we can have the freedom to do what we want to do, to set our own schedule, probably to travel and to kind of do the fun things in life. And impact, right? At the end of the day, really what we want is to know that what we're doing has an impact, right? So if we have a business that scales, we want it to provide those 3 things: money, freedom, and impact. So in order to have that happen, really the first thing we have to do is land clients. We have to have a system to land clients on a consistent basis, not random clients here or there, but new clients coming into the fold on monthly retainers, month in and month out. That provides money, right? If we can land clients consistently, the money will take care of itself. The second thing is we have to deliver results, right? We can't just get clients and get paid for a short term. We have to get the clients. We have to deliver, right? As SEOs, as digital marketing agency owners, that's our responsibility to get our clients a tangible, measurable return on investment where they can spend $1 with us and get 3 to 5 or more in return, right? So we have to be able to consistently get results. And then we have to retain the clients, right? We don't want to just land a client, lose a client, land 2 clients, lose 1 client. We have to continuously keep those clients on board. And so truly, if you can solve for these 3 things, landing clients, delivering results, and retaining long-term, there will be no stopping you in terms of growing and building your digital marketing agency. And so landing clients, there's been a lot of conversation about this over the last day and a half, lots of great insights on landing clients. To me, really the 3 key pillars are you have to fill your funnel, or you have to have a way for people to be exposed to your value and step up and say, hey, that guy looks or that gal looks like an expert in my type of business, right? So that's the first. We got to fill the funnel and have people scheduling in our calendar, not us chasing people down, but people leaning into us because we're the expert, because we're the value-added person that has given them information that's made their life better, that has showed them the way to get better results. The second thing is we have to build authority, right? In order for people to be in our funnel, they have to look at us as the experts. We have to build authority by putting up content, doing webinars, publishing books, speaking at industry events and associations. Build authority so that we can be looked at as the go-to expert in our chosen field. And we have to have sales mastery, right? We have to know how to take someone that's interested in working with us from a stranger to hiring us and committing to a monthly residual fee, right? So that's the landing clients piece. I could talk for days about that, but ultimately, if you can fill your funnel with prospects that get onto your calendar, you can build authority so that they're coming to you pre-positioned to buy, and you can take them through a really well-crafted sales process. Landing clients becomes a moot point. You can very consistently land clients in your agency. The next is delivering results. And so really to deliver results, the first thing we have to do is we have to choose our model. Here's where a lot of people get this wrong. They think, okay, I'm going to deliver results. SEO, ADA, pay-per-click advertising, Facebook ads, a la carte, whatever it takes, we'll get it done. We'll get you results. But the fact is, if you deliver results in a way that is not scalable, that is not systematized, you're going to be reinventing the wheel for every client. You're going to burn out very quickly. Your ability to continue to grow and scale is limited by the model that you choose. And you have to systematize and package. So instead of having this infinite supply of things you can sell, you need to make sure that you're selling a core program. Look, this is what I do. It's $2,500 per month. We're going to do a website, SEO, pay-per-click, whatever your package is, you want to simplify it. That way you can go out, focus on selling it again and again and again with a predictable result for the niche that you choose to focus on, and be able to package it and systematize it. Because it's very simple. If you're doing something new for every single client, you can't predictably generate results, and you can't expect someone else to be able to do it for you. You can't hire a team. You can't, train VAs because it's not packaged and systematized. Does that make sense? Give me a yes if that makes sense. You have to make sure that you've packaged it and do it the same way for the most part from one client to the next. Otherwise, there's really no way to scale. And the third is you have to develop a team, right? You can't do this on your own. Teamwork makes the dream work. Whether it's a virtual team or an in-house team like we have, eventually you want to start to put a team in place so that you don't have to do it all yourself in all of the areas of your business, from marketing to sales to delivery to client relationship management to back office administration, right? You have to have a team in order to make that happen. And you know what's funny is when you get that part, the way you deliver results dialed in, that's where your freedom comes from. Because now you can step out of all of it. Like at this point in my agency, I don't sell the clients. I don't deliver the results. I don't do any of the account management. I have a team in place for that. I still do what I do best in regards to my agency, and that's putting out content, positioning our agency as the go-to experts, speaking at industry events and associations. That's my core focus, is being the market leader in the space, and the rest of it is handled by our team, right? That's what a true business is. That's what I want for you in your digital marketing agency. Now, the third is you have to retain the clients. And what's interesting with retaining clients is that there's more to it than just generating results. I'm sure you've experienced this. You get the client, you do the work, they get ranked on page one, they get tons of calls, and they cancel. How many of you have experienced this at some point in your agency? Give me a yes in comments. I can't see it, but I'm sure you get, help me out, because I'm going to read this afterwards and I want to know that this is being interactive. The fact is, results alone will not ensure client retention, right? You have to have created an experience so that the clients stay. So the first is you have to have a strong kickoff. They say that what happens in the first 2 weeks of your relationship with a client dictates whether they're still going to be with you 12 months down the road. So you want to really engineer the first 30 days, the information you gather, the things you send them in the mail and in follow-up, the initial phone call to really set the expectations, to gather the usernames and passwords. You want to map out the rhythm, the communication process, how you're talking to your clients, what you're showing with them, how you're kind of demonstrating the value that you bring to the table, and you want to see the vision. Here's where we're going next. Here's what we're going to be focused on the next 30, 60, 90 days. Here's what we're collaborating on together. I find that when you've got those three pillars really, really well, the clients stay, right? And when they stay, you feel confident. When you feel confident, your team feels great. And that's where the impact comes from. Because if you're landing clients on a consistent basis, you're delivering amazing results, and the clients are sticking around long-term, you develop these long-term relationships, you know that the clients are growing. You know that they're getting return on investment. Your team grows and expands. And they don't just grow in terms of numbers, but they become experts in their own areas within the business. Their careers develop. Their families get served. And so, high level, this is the seven-figure agency model, right? If you really want to scale, these are the three key pillars and the 9 accelerators that make this happen and make it a reality. So business model fundamentals, just a couple things. I want to get through this, and then we can really start talking about organization charts and things like that. There's a concept called the rule of 5 ones, the rule of ones. And it was really coined initially by Clay Collins from Lead Pages. They studied companies that had massive accelerated growth. They said, what are these companies doing that's causing them to grow so quickly? And it's that they were able to focus on one thing in the 5 key areas of their business. The first is one target market. So instead of thinking I'm a SEO agency that serves anybody that will pay my fees, whether it's e-commerce, whether it's a dog walk service, whether it's the dentist across the street, to thinking I'm going to focus on one. I'm going to focus on plumbing and HVAC companies. That's what we do. We focus on plumbing and HVAC. Because you focus on one company, you can get really good at delivering results for them. Like, what are the directories they should be in? What are the strategies that work best to get online reviews? What are the tactics that work well to get them ranked? What are the keywords, right? You can get good at one. You can generate amazing results, and you go deep with your marketing because you're in one space. You can become somebody that's the known expert. That's the proven provider in that particular world. The second is one lead generation strategy. There's lots of ways to land clients, right? From cold outreach to industry associations and speaking to running webinars, you name it. There's lots of different ways to generate leads and clients. The companies that grow fastest get good at one. They choose one, they focus on that. Really, they focus on one. They get really good at it, consistently generate leads. One conversion mechanism. That's like a one-on-one sales strategy session works best for digital marketing and SEO related services. One program. Now, this is, a lot of you guys are like, I could do one niche, maybe. I could maybe do one focused, sales process. One program, not an infinite supply of programs, but one core program. It's like, here's what we sell, right? And it's the comprehensive, this is what's going to work best. This is what's going to knock it out of the park for our clients. So we're not going to reinvent for everybody. We're not going to do a bunch of a la carte stuff, but this is what we think works, and this is what we bring to market. The agencies that grow quickest do that. They focus on one program, and they do it for 1 year. Now, a lot of you guys are like, I could have done the rest of that stuff. Well, you're telling me a year. I don't know about you, but what I've seen is most SEOs and digital marketing agencies have shiny object syndrome. So from one day to the next, they see a WSO come in. Oh, this is a cool thing that's happened that we need to go learn about. Or, hey, there's this new opportunity with ManyChat or with chatbots, right? And there's so many new things happening. You want to kind of constantly shift the model. But the fact is, what I've seen is the agencies that I've worked with that have quickly gone to 7 figures and beyond have done these 5 ones, right? One niche, one lead generation strategy, one program, and they stick at it for a year. And this is what's going to be hardest for you guys is I really want you to commit and put your blinders on. So, okay, I'm going to sell this one program to this one niche using this one lead generation strategy for a year. And I promise you, your probability of accomplishing your goal of getting to 7 figures and beyond is significantly higher when you do it this way. And what's interesting is to the extent that you throw one additional in any of these, well, maybe I'll do 2 target markets instead of 1, or maybe I'll sell 3 programs instead of 1. You multiply the complexity, which multiplies the amount of time it's going to take for you to get to your goal or to your target. Does that make sense? Give me a yes if that makes sense of the ones. Can you guys do this? Being the local SEO for a vertical, you can really accelerate growth. The other thing that's important is you got to do the money math. You got to be clear on it makes sense. About 7 figures, and that's what we're talking about here. There's a couple different ways to get to 7 figures. One way would be to land one client at $83,000 a month, right? Be a 7-figure agency, right? Now, there's not a lot of businesses out there that are willing to pay that fastest way. You can have 8 to 10 clients paying you $10,000 per month. $3,000 per month, or you could have 166 clients at $500 per month, or 830 clients at $100 per month. Do this money math. My first agency. My money math was, I'll charge $50 a month. I'll sell a couple hundred people. They'll stay with me and pay a monthly. And I'll have at some point. The reality is, it takes a lot of energy and a lot of effort to sell 830, right? Or multiply that by 2 at $50 per month. So knowing this math, really, the sweet spot in my mind is somewhere between $1,000 and $2,000 per month. The reason I say that's a sweet spot is because businesses in any vertical, right? Whether it's roofing companies, HVAC companies, plumbing companies, chiropractic offices, decorative concrete organizations, IT service providers that comfortably and consistently will spend between $1,000 and $2,000 per month. And really, at $1,000 per month, you only need 83 clients to be a digital marketing agency. Here's the bottom line. Per month, at just $13.50 per month, you can 12 months. So that's math. Really, anything per month and monthly recurring, in my mind, should be off the table. Don't even bother. It takes as much energy, and give me a comment if you've seen this to be true. It takes as much energy to sell somebody a $500 a month program as it does them is about equal. Interesting is the $500 per month client takes so much more energy to retain than the $500 a month client, because they're usually a bigger company. They're already used to spending this kind of money, right? They've got financial affluence. They've got their business systems. And so really, I want to encourage you, focus on higher end, $1,000 per month in recurring revenue. Let everybody else take the smaller guys. Let everybody else take the bottom views. The accelerated growth is over here on the higher side. A couple business model fundamentals, just real quick. To me, one targeted niche, right? Choose one targeted niche. Focus all your time, your attention, your focus. And that's when you've got examples and proof of companies like theirs. But what most people forget is it's much easier to scale in one niche, because you can say, all right, this is what a plumber needs, right? This is what I do for plumbers. And you go out and sell that again and again. To the extent that you sell a plumber one day, a roofer the next day, an e-commerce site the next day, there's no way to scale. And that's why you get burned out as a digital marketer. At scale, struggle, or startup, right? Because you've never given yourself out an advantage. These are the steps, and just make it very simplified. The second, in check payments, no partial deposits. All we sell is monthly recurring. And right now it's at about $25 per month average. We started, it was $1,000 per month. I found this project work, even the big $25,000 project work, that when it comes in, you get paid manages. And it's like, well, where'd the money go? You have nothing to show for it. Where when you're getting monthly residual payments from your clients every month, you only land 2 or 3 clients.
Hey, Josh.
You can
Hello.
scale
Hey, Josh.
your entire team.
Hey, Josh.
Yes.
Josh, you might want to turn your video off. Yeah, you might want to turn your video off. You're really like there's a storm going on out there in Florida or something. Your slides, your share screen's coming across great, but your video, the video of you and the sound not so much. So try that.
Thanks for the heads up. Is it working again now?
Yeah, just keep your camera off and we'll see what happens. I can hear you now, so we'll take it from there.
Okay. So those are the business model fundamentals. Good example of this is Alan Hillsberg. You know, he was a generalist agency, kind of serving anybody he could get his hands on, and he's kind of stuck at like $10,000 per month, down in that struggle phase within his digital marketing agency. And he did this. He chose to focus on funeral homes. He chose $1,000 per month as his monthly recurring, and just put all of his energy, all of his attention into this. And he was able to scale to over $115,000 per month over the last 3 years, serving funeral homes. And I can tell you lots of examples of other people that have done this. And so this really works if you can put this in place and you can do it in this way. So that's step one, is to get your model right. Make sure that your model is built to scale. The second thing you want to do is you want to map out your organization chart. I don't know how many of you guys have read the book, The E-Myth Revisited by Michael E. Gerber. Amazing book about, making sure that you're working on your business and not in your business. And one of the key exercises that he had a very small business do, it was a 2-man partnership. I think they were in the aviation space. And he told them, look, in order for you to grow, in order for you to scale your business, even though it's just the 2 of you, you need to have an organization chart, because every business has core functions, right? There's leadership, there's marketing, there's sales, there's account management, there's operations, and then there's HR and finance, right? And so most of us in our digital marketing agencies do all of that, right? When it was me and my business partner, we did it all. And it was kind of unclear who did what, but it was kind of like, oh, we're just going to do all of the work ourselves. And so you might think that's counterproductive. Why would I even bother putting this on an organization chart? Because what happens is when you map out your organization chart and you get it down on paper, you start to get clear mentally, okay, right now I'm wearing my SEO hat, right? I'm doing SEO work. And you can oscillate to, okay, now I'm doing marketing stuff in order to get myself clients. Now I'm doing sales stuff. And the clearer you can be about what your organization chart should look like when you're at 50K a month, when you're at 70K a month, when you're at over $1 million in annual revenue, the better you can scale the business, the better you can really start to see the light at the end of the tunnel and say, okay, I don't do this part well. This is what I should replace myself from next. So you really want to map out your organization chart, even when it's just you, even maybe when it's just you and one or two other people within your company. The next thing you want to do is you want to find people that play at what you have to work at. There's a great book by John Osseroff called The Answer. Another great book. I highly recommend you check it out and read it. And one of the things from that book that really stuck out to me was he said the key insight that helped him grow his business from like 5 million to over 100 million was this concept that there are people that play at what has worked for you. So as the owners of SEO and digital marketing agencies, we often look and we say, I have to do this myself. I'm the only one that can claim these directories. I'm the only one that can set up this website the way that it needs to be done. Even if we don't like it, we feel like it has to be us. But the reality is there's things you enjoy. There's things that you play at, right? I'm sure there's things you love. Maybe it's website design. Maybe it's marketing and speaking. And there's things that you hate to do. There's things that it just feels like pulling teeth to have to do it. It's a very empowering thought to know there's people that are the exact opposite of you. And if you put them in to doing that thing you hate doing, they love it. Not only they do it, but they do it well and they enjoy it. So as you map out your organization chart, remember there are people that play at what you have to work at. Number 4 is to develop your systems and your procedures, right? The only way you can scale, the only way you can hand things off is if you've got clarity on, okay, once this happens, these are the steps. Right? Once this happens, these are the steps. You need to develop those systems and procedures. And the 5th element is what you have to do is you have to move to a thought process of recruiting, training, and managing. Right? As entrepreneurs, as the owners of our digital marketing agencies, our main function eventually, as we grow, as we scale, becomes finding good talent, getting them on board and trained up, and managing them. Keeping them clear on what their KPIs are, keeping them clear on what their activities are, and keeping them engaged in their roles within the company. So I just want to hear real quick in comments, and then we'll move on to some tactical stuff here. What's been most valuable so far? I also want to check in and see, is my audio working? Somebody give me something to let me know if my stuff's working correctly. Yep. Okay, good. That's good to know. All working. Audio's better. Perfect. Okay, so I have a worksheet for you guys, and I don't know if Terry or one of you guys can pop this in here. Go to 7figureagency.com/scale. It's just a Google sheet or a Google Doc that will help us kind of do some of the exercises I'm going to have us do here. We're going to do this really quick because I know we got a narrow window of time, and feel free to interrupt me whenever we need to be interrupted, Terry. So go to 7figureagency.com/scale. That will open up another tab with a worksheet. And I want you guys to do some of these exercises either after the fact or while we're going, if we can. So the first step is as you map out your organization chart, you have to be clear on what the roles are, right? What are the functions within your business? You cannot scale if you're not clear on what those functions are. The next is you have to map out who does what. So, I've got an image of an organization chart. I've got a template that's available for you in the worksheet that you can download, that you can access, that you can kind of plug in your name and who does what. One of the big things that could be slowing you down right now is if you've got 3 or 4 people in your company and this organization chart isn't mapped out, some overlap is happening. You and somebody else thinks the other person is doing it. And so it's really important to get clear on accountability. Who's responsible for putting out content to position yourselves as the expert? Who's responsible for selling and bringing in new clients? Who's responsible for onboarding new clients when they sign up? Who's responsible for doing all the operation stuff, the website, the SEO, the pay-per-click, the social media, right? I don't want to spend tons of time, but just know that that's what you need to do. You need to map this out on a chart. This is just a Visio chart. I have Smart Draw that I'm giving you guys access to in order to do this. And the purpose of this exercise, the main outcome that I want for you, is to be clear on what you need to remove yourself from next. So as you look at the org chart and you look at kind of what it's going to look like at the next level up and the next level beyond that, you start to get clear, okay, here's what I need to remove myself from. And when you're clear on that, it's a really empowering process because you can see the light at the end of the tunnel. You can see, okay, I hate doing this, but if I go out and land 3 to 5 new clients, I'll be able to hire someone and remove myself from that particular function within the business. And so on your worksheet, if you've got a link to it, or you can also go to sevenfigureagency.com/org-chart-template. You've got kind of a sample org chart there, and you've also got our scaled org chart, kind of what it looks like right now at $4 million per year. So as you can see, kind of here's where we're at right now. Here's what it will look like as we grow. And you want to map out your org chart, not for as it sits today, but for what it's going to look like when it's a 7-figure business, right? Even if you're in all of the positions and all of the boxes on that organization chart, you want to have all of those roles clearly fleshed out. So really the core functions within your business are marketing, like creating activity to generate leads, sales, talking to prospects, taking them through a consultative sales process, asking for the business, account management, which is talking to those clients, showing them the reports, keeping them engaged, keeping them on board, operations, doing the work, the websites, the SEO, the pay-per-click, the reporting, the hosting infrastructure, the ADA compliance, right? Operations, launch coordination. I found that there's a separate function within most agencies, which is when you get a new client, there's a whole different ball of wax or a whole different set of tasks that have to be dealt with. So launching new clients, or getting the usernames, getting the passwords, getting the website up, getting it approved, right? And then there's admin and HR. Admin, paying your bills, dealing with the paperwork, all of that stuff. And HR, like the team as you hire them, making sure that they're on payroll and the payroll is processed correctly. So these are the key functions. I just want you to spend a couple minutes, because I do want to make this a little bit workshop oriented. I know I'm coming down to the end of my hour, but just real quick, where's your time going? Are you spending a lot of time on account management? Are you spending a lot of time on operations? Where's your time going, right? Because I think that the presenter prior to me talked about bottlenecks. Like, where are you stuck? The fact is, there's something in one of these 5 columns that's bottlenecking you and will keep you stuck at your current state or kind of close to your current state. And so getting really clear on the things you're doing that you're not great at, the things you're doing that you don't like to do, really is what will empower you to move forward faster. So I'm going to give you homework to work on this in your worksheets, kind of map out. What are you doing? Where's your time going? And then what I want you to do is take those things and block them out in one of these 4 criteria: genius, excellent, competent, and incompetent. So genius being the things that you do extremely well, that you love to do, that give you the most passion, that you've always been really good at, and for some reason you're just naturally talented at it. Those are your genius zone things. That's where you need to be spending your time. That's where you need to be spending your energy, right? So what out of the things in that worksheet are you doing that are in your genius zone? What are the things that you do that you're excellent at? So things that you're excellent at are things that you do really, really, really well, but you had to learn it, right? You had to roll up your sleeves. Every time you do it, it takes a little bit of work, right? And you probably want to continue doing that stuff because you've gotten good at it, but it kind of draws down your energy a little bit. From there, what are you competent at? The things that you're doing that you're only competent at. That means you do it, there's someone else out there that could probably do it better, but it has to be done and you don't have anybody else to do it. You hate doing it, you kind of dislike it, but you're just getting it done, right? And then there's the stuff that you're incompetent at. These are the things that, for me, for instance, website design. I am not a designer. If I try and build a website, it comes out like garbage. I get laughed at. And so that's, at the beginning of my business, I didn't have anybody else to design. And so I was doing that type of work. So hopefully that's clear. Those are the 4 buckets. I want you to spend a little time just putting in what are the things that you're doing in these 3 areas, or after the fact, as you're watching this, pause it if you're watching this on replay and go in and fill this stuff out. I promise you, this is a powerful exercise. And ideally, the insight that you come away with this from is, what are you doing that you're incompetent or competent at that's preventing you from being in your genius zone, so that you can get clear on your next 2 to 3 hires. What I find in most agencies, if we're looking at the E-Myth Revisited style, most agencies kind of became very good technicians, became very good at, okay, what's the schema? What's the on-page optimization? What's the link stack process? And we got good at that, right? And so we spend a lot of time and energy on that. But the reality is, doing the technical stuff will not grow your business, right? What will grow your business is sales, business development, landing new clients. And so what you want to do, what we did and what we find other agencies doing, is the first thing you need to step away from is the operations, the doing of the website, the doing of the content, even the ordering of the content, the placement of the links. That's the first thing as you grow you need to separate yourself from. Because if you're stuck in operations mode, you cannot be focused on business development. So that's step one. The next thing that usually bottlenecks agencies as they grow, as they scale, is account management. So once you get to like 20 or 25 clients that are paying you on monthly residuals, if you're the one taking the call, if you're the one going through the reports, if you're the one retaining that client relationship, that's going to take a lion's share of your time. You will not have the ability to go out and land new clients and grow and scale. So usually the second position you need to scale yourself out of is account management. Right? And so this is different for everybody. That's why this activity is powerful, because some people are more energized and genius in operation stuff. And if that's you, then you need to find somebody that can take over the sales and take over the business marketing type stuff. Right? So really what I want you to do as you think about growing and scaling your agencies, just get really clear, what are the next 2 to 3 hires that you need to put in place? What I find is that process can be extremely empowering. Just knowing, okay, I'm still doing the websites, but once I get to 10 clients, I'll be able to hire someone to start to do that part for me. You can continue to press through, right? And so it's just kind of seeing the light at the end of the tunnel at whatever stage you're at in your business will help move you forward and move you to the next level. So I know we didn't have time to go deep into this worksheet. I want you to do this on your own. If you reach out to me and ask me questions, I'd be glad to help. But I promise you, doing that exercise can have a massive impact on your growth, on your ability to scale, on your ability to get what you really want, which is more money and more freedom, right? The flexibility to do what you want to do. If you're doing it all yourself, you definitely can't get there. So another great example of this is Brian Stearman from Lawn Care Marketing Mechanic. He was a generalist agency. He decided he was going to focus on lawn care companies. So like the lawn maintenance companies, the landscape design companies. And he did this. He grew from $0 to $30,000 in monthly recurring revenue. And, things were going great, but he started to bottleneck. He really started to bottleneck because it was just him, his wife doing websites, and he had a VA somewhere in the world that was helping him out with support. And he was like, man, I started this business because I want to make a lot of money. I want thick profit margins. And if I start to grow and if I start to scale, that's gonna eat into my profits. I won't be able to grow. And so he's a part of our mastermind program. We said, look, you need to continue focusing on business development, right? If you're not moving forward, you're inevitably going to be moving back, right? And you've got the market. You've got the ability to land more clients. What you need to do is start to build out your team, to put these systems and procedures in place. So he did that. And within about a year, he was able to go from $30,000 to over $87,000 per month in recurring revenue. There's a video in your workbook. I'm not going to play it now because we don't have time. But he just kind of tells his story. He tells his experience as of February 2019, kind of how he got to that $80,000 mark, how that impacted his life, how he was able to buy his house cash and really create a lot of personal and financial freedom. And now he's at almost 115,000 as of today, even with coronavirus and everything that's going on. So hopefully this is helpful. Hopefully you got some new insights and ideas on how to grow and scale your agency. Some resources I definitely want you to check out. Scaling Up is a great book. The E-Myth Revisited, also extremely powerful. Really the operating system we operate under is called Entrepreneur Operating System. It's known as EOS. There's an amazing book called Traction by Gino Wickman. If you have any intention of growing and scaling your agency, building a leadership team, having yourself free from the day-to-day, that book is the place to start, and the Entrepreneur Operating System. I also want to encourage you to check out my book. It's called The Seven-Figure Agency Roadmap. I really unpack our whole model, how to land clients, deliver results, retain clients long-term, and scale your agency so you don't have to do it all yourself. You can get that for free. All I ask is you pay the shipping by going to sevenfigureagency.com/book, sevenfigureagency.com/book. I don't know, Terry, if you can drop that in chat for me so they have access to it, that would be awesome. So next steps, what you need to do as a function of today's session. First of all, map out your org chart. Don't let this just be an exercise. You're like, yeah, I read that in eMyth and Josh just said it again, and that would be good. Now's the time, right? Pull up SmartDraw, take out PowerPoint, whatever you use, and get your org chart mapped out. This is step one to thinking about growth and scale. Step two is to identify your genius zone. Figure out those things that you are great at, that give you energy, that you could do all day long without feeling the time pass. The more time you can spend in that area within your business, the quicker your agency is going to grow, the more impact you're going to have, the better you're going to feel about what you do day to day. And the third is to identify your next 2 to 3 hires. Even if you think, I don't have any clients, even if you think I'm not at a place where I'm hiring anybody, being clear on those next 2 to 3 hires is extremely, extremely powerful. So I'd love to hear from you guys. I know my time's up. I'd love to hear from you guys in comments, in chat, and Q&A. What are the takeaways? What did you take away from today's session? What did you notice? What will you implement in your life, in your business? And if you want to connect with me, I've thrown some links up here where you can connect with me further. If you'd like to schedule an agency acceleration session, that's available. Actually, I think if you click my name inside this group and you hit book, it'll take you to the page where you can do that. There's a link here to get a free copy of my book, 7-Figure Agency Roadmap. And there's a group you can join and participate in. Terry, how did I do? I know I went a little bit over my time. I do apologize for that.